What's up, YouTube? We are back with Roto2Moto with our 2023 Honda Grom Mini Adventure build. This is part 2. We are going to install these Dunlop dual sport tires that we ordered online onto this bike. As you can see, we actually installed some of the saddlebags and a tail bag, which was actually a tool case. Actually came with a little tool bag, but I actually used it for a lunchbox for work. But it was pretty straightforward and easy to install. They have lots of storage, and it's got some waterproof covers here, or water resistant covers, side zip, and it's also expandable here. That gives you a little bit more room out this way. It's pretty straightforward to install, so I'm not going to really go too deep into that. This tail bag actually has clips, and you just rip it right off. It's got Velcro. You've got to drill into it and screw it in onto the tail section under here, and then it just plops right on there. This one's also kind of expandable. Has some interior stuff here for emergency kits, anything you want to put in here. Yeah, med kits or tool kits, whatever you want. Pretty nifty. Actually really helpful because you can just tear it right off, re-secure it pretty quickly, and you're good to go. So yeah, guys, this is a start to part 2 of the mini adventure build. I was going to take these tires out to my buddies, but they're pretty busy with their tire machine. We're actually pretty busy at their house, so I couldn't use their tire machine today. So we are going to use some manual tools to get these tires off and get things going here. So we're going to put this bike up on stands and get the tires off, and we'll be right back. Alright, guys, have it up on stands. I actually did run into a quick little snag. We had to take the little ADV fender off, and I realized my big bike stands are a little bit too big, too tall to lift this little mini up. So as you can see, the headlight kind of touches right there. So I had to put a piece of foam right there and get it up on the triple tree. Seems okay for now, enough to get the tire off, but I need to invest in some mini stands. I did not think about that until now, so, but it's up in the air. We're gonna get the tires off and get that going. The brake caliper, it's a 12 millimeter. And get that puppy off, and then get the axle bolt out and out. This is a good time to check your pads and your rotor, how they're doing. Look all right. You kind of just set that out of the way. Ultimately, you'd want to hang this with like a bungee cord and get that going. Ooh, there's some rubbing here. Yeah, you'll take care of that. But yeah, get that out of the way. Get this axle nut bolt out, and then your front wheel should just pop out. It's a 14 millimeter on this side, and then it's a 19 millimeter on this side. It makes it a lot easier when you have power tools, but you can get it off with a regular wrench. Just slide that out. You're going to have some spacers in between. Make sure you don't lose those. You can kind of see the marks of where they go in. Kind of piece that down, and boom. Tire's out. Alright, so we got the tire and the wheel on the ground here. We've got our manual tire tool set that we're going to try out for the very first time that we got from Amazon. It's called the Duratech steel tire spoon tool set. And looks like we got tire spoons there, your rim protectors there, little tool set here for your valve remover tool, and also some, looks like some spare valve caps and some tire valves. So we're gonna open this up. I'm gonna take air out of this tire. Take your valve core remover tool, stick it in there, and through it. There we go. It is aired down. So definitely watch out for your brake rotor. Make sure this side.
Want me to put it in there?
Yeah, it's fine. And we're gonna take our tire spoons. See if we can break this bead down. Alright guys, I don't recommend doing it this way, but we had to use the car, run over the side of the tire, and de-bead the tire off the wheel. A little bit of ridiculousness. I don't recommend doing it this way, but it worked with little thinking. So, if you can't get to a tire shop for any reason, this might be your route, but just be careful. I don't recommend this. If you can get to a tire shop easily, go ahead and do it. These manual tools kind of suck. They're probably just built for dirt, tube dirt bike tires that can de-bead easily. They don't really help that much. So we're gonna try and get the rest of it off with what we have. But yeah, doing it that way, it actually worked. So. Alright, so we got both sides of the beads popped on the wheel. I had to remove the brake rotor as to not to damage it when I flipped it over and ran the other side over with the car. So, like I said before, this is like a last ditch effort to try and do. I do not recommend this. You might risk damaging the wheel. I obviously took that risk and it worked. So, like I said, if you're in a place where you can't get to a tire shop, this may work for you. But now we're going to get to removing the tire off the wheel with the spoons. There we go. That kind of do work. Just really hard to get on. Because that edge keeps rolling over. There we go. Hey, there you go. They actually do work. Let's keep trying. And we can get in there. Get the bead over.
So that's how.
And just work it around. Can you hand me the third one, mister? Tires pretty much there. Let's see if I can just pull it the rest of the way off. And there it is. One side off. And then we just repeat Same thing to get the wheel off, or the tire off the wheel. Bros, we got it off. Sheesh. This is not fun. I have tire change machines available to me at work. Obviously I can't use them for these purposes, but if I had a tire machine, I'd be done with this in 5 minutes. But I don't. I don't have access to one right now. And if you have to use these, don't. It sucks. Anyway, we got it off. The plastic anti-mar covers kind of work. It saved me a little bit of preventing from marring the wheel, but obviously it didn't do that much. But if you care, don't use this cheap kit from Amazon. It might work well on some dirt bike tires. I've actually used a similar set on my old Mini Supermoto, but that had tube tires and it didn't have mag wheels like this. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to make sure your rotation is pointing in the correct direction, and then we're going to slide this first bead on, get some of your soapy water. Get that all on the inside of the bead. Just muscle that on, kind of rotate it, twist it if you can. Alright, boys and girls, I've got it about this far on this wheel, and it is not fun. I'm not afraid to admit that this is pretty ridiculous. On a bigger tire, you have a lot more leverage and a lot more space. On this tiny little tire, and especially these really stiff Dunlops, it makes installing it very, very difficult. So, I called my local Cycle Gear to see if they could handle Grom tires, and they don't, because the wheel is too small. So, we are limited to ourselves. So, eventually, we're going to figure out how to get this stuff on. But in the meantime, I'm going to have some lunch, think about what I can do, and take a break. So, alright guys, blood, sweat, and tears. We got the tire mounted. Oh, man. It is not fun. Oh, so what I had to do was heat helped a bit, heating up the sidewalls, getting the rubber a little bit more pliable. That's why I have that one sitting out in the sun. Now, be warned. Like I said, I called my local Cycle Gear. They don't mount Grom wheels or tires, because the machine's it doesn't go that small, apparently. So, if you are a Grom rider, or like a Z125, or any kind of mini rider, you may be left to do these tire changes on your own and manually. While the Amazon tire spoons did obviously help, they're kind of needed. There's probably much better tools to do it with. Doing something this small doesn't help, especially if the tire is super stiff. The stock tires are already pretty darn stiff, but these Dunlops are even more stiff. So when you're putting your knees on it to kind of get your weight on the bead to stop it from coming back up, it's pretty hard to do because the wheel is so small. It's probably easier to do on a bigger tire, such as like a sport bike or something like that. But we got it on. We're gonna try and air it up, get the beads a seat, and go from there. Alright guys, so we got it mounted on. I gotta put the brake caliper back on, but notable mention, when you're mounting these tires onto the wheel, there's actually a mark on some tires where this yellow mark is. You want to get that as close as you can to the valve stem. That provides, or that actually shows the heavy spot on the wheel, on the tire, and when you mount it, that's where the sweet spot for the balance is. I don't necessarily think you need to balance these specific tires. They're so small, but it's always a good rule of thumb to line that mark up with the valve stem when you're mounting tires. Alright guys, we're going to take off the rear wheel now. So I think it's 19 and a 14 mil back here too. Go ahead and put that wrench there, gun this off. There's a nut, there's a spacer, and it doesn't look like we need to take the caliper off. I think we'll be able to, once we get the axle out, we can just slide it out. We're gonna find out here in a second. There's another spacer there. Just kind of twist and pull. Might have to lift up on it a little bit. There we go. There are some spacers, so watch out for those and make sure they go on the right side they come out on. Drop the wheel out, there's your spacer. Make sure you know which way goes in. Obviously there's some grease marks, so you know which way faces inwards. Yeah, and we're gonna take the chain off. Don't need to do anything with the tensioners. Those stay right where they are. They might fall out a little bit, but it's okay. So, and then we're gonna wiggle this wheel out. Just like that. And it comes right out. Make sure you take your spacer off on the other side, see which way it goes in. Let's orientate it so you know which way it goes in for next time. The caliper just kind of hangs there. Just set it up there. There we go. We got the wheel out. Now your sprocket is just going to come out. You can just yank that out just like that. Here's your cush drive. You need to leave those in, take them out, whatever, just check them, make sure they're not cracked, and we can get started on the back tire. Alright guys, there she is, with the new dual sport tires, looking more like a little mini adventure bike. I think it looks pretty cool. Next thing to do is do a test ride and make sure everything's good. But yeah, learning points. If you're gonna do something like this, just so you know, I kind of reiterated it, but Cycle Gear does not do Grom tire or Z125 or mini tire installs. Apparently their machine doesn't go that small. It might be just because of my area. I don't know if other people's areas, but they don't do it. So either look to a buddy that does the installs, or you can try it yourself. The Amazon tools that I got, the tire spoons and tire change kit, it helped. It probably wasn't the greatest. As you know, I had to run over the wheel so I could break the bead. It took me the better half of a day to get both tires off and installed. So do plan to at least have half your day to do something like this, if you're going to do it yourself on the ground. If you have somebody that can do it on a tire machine, you'll be done in like 15 minutes. So but yeah, there she is. We're going to test ride it real quick and make sure everything's good. I'll have another video coming up of more than likely either like a windshield install or a crash cage, kind of adventure cage install. But we'll see. We'll find out what comes up next. But other than that, hey, like, follow, subscribe if you guys want to see more content like this. Thanks for the views and the subscribers.